The man called the General disappeared from music for years, and now he's performing again with secrets about his family and money that nobody expected. Robert Russell was born on September 28, 1957, in Paypine, a neighborhood in Kingston, Jamaica. As a little boy, nobody knew he would become one of the biggest names in dancehall music. He would later take the stage name Brigadier Jerry, and that name would become famous across Jamaica and the whole world. But his story isn't just about music and fame. It's about family, faith, money struggles, and a comeback that's happening right now. To understand why his return is so important, you need to know where he started and what happened during the years he seemed to vanish. Kingston in the 1950s, and 1960 seconds was alive with music. Jamaica had just become free from British rule in 1962, and new sounds were taking over the streets. Ska music played everywhere, slowly changing into rocksteady, which later became reggae. Young Robert Russell grew up hearing all these sounds. His family was huge, with 15 children total. Music was in their blood. One of his younger sisters, a girl named Offlin, would later become famous as Sister Nancy, the first woman to make it big as a dancehall DJ. Robert didn't start out making music. He actually began by doing stand-up comedy, performing at local shows and learning how to control a crowd. This skill of keeping people interested would later help him become a great DJ. Comedy taught him timing, how to read what people wanted, and how to keep them watching. These are the exact same skills a dancehall DJ needs when they're talking over music at a dance. Everything changed for Robert in the late 1970s. He discovered a DJ named U-Roy, who many people say invented modern dancehall and even influenced rap music in America. U-Roy had this incredible talent for talking over reggae music, creating a whole new style of entertainment. Robert was completely amazed. He started hanging around the Kingston hi-fi sound system that U-Roy ran. In Jamaica, sound systems are huge mobile DJ setups with massive speakers that play at outdoor dances. Robert would watch U-Roy every chance he got. U-Roy noticed how serious the young man was and decided to teach him everything he knew. This was like getting trained by a master teacher. In 1978, something spiritual happened that would change Robert's music completely. He joined a Rastafarian group called the 12 Tribes of Israel. This wasn't just about growing dreadlocks. It was a serious religious movement that believed in Africa as the homeland of black people, reading the Bible every day, and living a good, conscious life. This spiritual change transformed how Robert approached music. While other DJs talked about girls, parties, and guns, Robert started focusing on positive messages, spirituality, and teaching people to live better. He became known as a cultural DJ, meaning his words carried deep meaning and lessons about life. By this time, Robert had become Brigadier Jerry. The name came from his powerful presence and the way he delivered his words like a military commander. When he grabbed a microphone, it was like a general giving orders. His voice was strong, clear, and impossible to ignore. He started performing regularly with the Jah Love Music sound system. Sound system culture in Jamaica was massive in those days. These were community events where DJs would compete against each other, testing their skills in real time, like freestyle rap battles today. Except it happened every night across Kingston. The year 1980 was when Brigadier Jerry really broke through. He had become one of the most wanted DJs on the entire island. People would pack into dances just to hear him perform. His style was special. He combined super fast talking with crystal clear pronunciation. Some DJs would mumble their words, but every single word that Briggy said cut through the music perfectly. He could switch from funny jokes to deep spiritual wisdom in seconds. Young people loved his energy and speed. Older folks appreciated his conscious, positive messages. He had found a way to make everyone happy before he made any big recordings. Illegal cassette tapes of his live performances started spreading around Jamaica and even to Jamaican communities in England, Canada, and America. People would record him at dances and make copies to sell or share. These bootleg tapes made him famous before he ever recorded a proper song in a studio. This shows how powerful his live performances were. His first big hits came in 1982 with songs called Pain and Guana School. These weren't just catchy songs. They carried important messages. Guana School told young people to go to school and get educated. Pain talked about the struggles of life. These songs showed that Brigadier Jerry wanted his music to mean something, to actually help people think better and live better. The following year, 1983, brought his first album called Live at the Controls. This wasn't recorded in a studio with fancy equipment. It was raw, live recordings from real sound system dances. You could hear the crowd reactions and the real feeling of a Jamaican dance. This album spread his reputation beyond Jamaica to reggae fans all over the world. 2 years later, in 1985, he released Jamaica, his first proper studio album. The title song became his most famous track and remains his biggest song to this day. The song celebrated Jamaica's culture, beauty, and strength. But it wasn't simple. Brigadier Jerry packed it with clever wordplay, cultural references, and that super fast delivery that nobody else could copy. Other massive songs from this album included Every Man Me Brethren, which talked about unity, and Armageddon, which dealt with end-of-the-world themes from a Rastafarian viewpoint. He even did a creative version of Three Blind Mice, turning it into something that commented on social problems. Throughout the 1980s, Brigadier Jerry was constantly performing. He traveled with Roy's Kingston Gav sound system across Jamaica and other countries. These weren't fancy tours with big stages. They were sweaty, packed clubs where the sound systems would shake your whole body and crowds would dance until sunrise. The money wasn't huge, but the respect was enormous. Other DJs looked up to him like a teacher. Younger artists studied everything he did. Then in 1988, something unexpected happened. Brigadier Jerry moved to New York City with his wife and children. New York had a massive Caribbean community, especially in Brooklyn, but it wasn't Jamaica. It seemed he wanted to give his family better opportunities and maybe escape some of the violence in Kingston. For 3 years, from 1988 to 1991, Brigadier Jerry lived in America, far away from the sound systems that had made him famous. Living in New York changed his career in a big way. He was away from the Jamaican music scene during a period when dancehall was exploding. New stars were appearing. The sound was getting rougher and more aggressive. DJs like Shabba Ranks, Ninja Man, and Young Buju Banton were taking dancehall in new directions, focusing more on sexually explicit lyrics and gun talk. Brigadier Jerry's conscious, cultural style seemed old-fashioned to some younger fans. In 1992, he decided to return home to Jamaica. He reconnected with the Jal of Music sound system and started performing again. But Jamaica had changed a lot. Digital rhythms created with computers were replacing live musicians. The conscious lyrics that Brigadier Jerry championed weren't as popular as the rougher styles dominating the radio. Despite these big changes, Brigadier Jerry kept pushing forward. In 1995, he released 2 albums, Hail Him and Freedom Street. Both stayed true to his cultural roots and spiritual messages. These weren't big commercial hits, but they kept his name respected among true reggae fans who valued substance over hype. The fact that he refused to change his style to chase trends earned him massive respect. Now here's where the family story gets really interesting. Remember his little sister Offlin? While Brigadier Jerry was building his career, she was watching and learning. Inspired by her big brother's success, she started jing under the name Sister Nancy. Brigadier Jerry became her teacher, showing her the skills he had learned from Roy. In 1982, Sister Nancy released a song called Bam Bam that had moderate success in Jamaica at first. But here's the crazy part. Decades later, in the 2000s and 2010 seconds, Bam Bam exploded. Major hip-hop and R&B artists started sampling it. Kanye West used it in his huge hit Famous featuring Rihanna in 2016. Jay-Z sampled it for a song called Bam featuring Damian Marley in 2017. Lauryn Hill had used it years earlier. According to the website WaSampled, over 65 different songs have sampled Bam Bam, making it one of the most sampled reggae songs ever. Sister Nancy became recognized as the first female dancehall DJ to achieve real success. In interviews, she always credits Brigadier Jerry as her main inspiration and the person who taught her everything about stage presence. Interestingly, for 34 years Sister Nancy didn't receive any royalties from Bam Bam because of a bad contract. It wasn't until 2014 that she sued and finally got control of 50% of the publishing rights. The connection between these siblings shows how talent ran deep in the Russell family. Out of 15 children, at least 2 became music legends. Brigadier Jerry's success opened doors for her, but she had to prove herself in a male-dominated industry. The fact that she succeeded and even had bigger commercial success says something about both their talents. After the mid-1990s, Brigadier Jerry became less visible in the mainstream music world. He moved to the United States permanently and was living a quieter life. He would perform occasionally at reggae festivals and Caribbean community events in America, but he wasn't chasing fame anymore. This brings us to the big question about his net worth. Here's the honest truth. There are no reliable public records of Brigadier Jerry's exact net worth. He never had the kind of massive commercial success that makes someone wealthy in music. Unlike pop stars or even some other reggae artists who signed major label deals, Brigadier Jerry built his career primarily through live performances on sound systems. Sound system DJs in Jamaica got paid per dance. And while popular DJs could make decent money, it wasn't the kind of wealth that comes from hit records and publishing rights. Throughout his entire career, Brigadier Jerry only released 5 studio albums. That's a really small catalog. He didn't own a record label or publishing company that would generate ongoing income. Most of his classic songs were released on small Jamaican labels that didn't have international distribution or strong systems for collecting royalties. Even his most famous song, Jamaica, Jamaica, probably didn't generate the kind of royalties you might expect because of how the Jamaican music industry worked in the 1980s. Many artists from that era got paid small upfront fees and never saw proper royalties from record sales or radio play. As a while, Brigadier Jerry is incredibly wealthy. In terms of respect, influence, and cultural impact, his actual bank account probably doesn't reflect his legendary status. Some estimates suggest his net worth might be somewhere between $1 million to $3 million, but these are just guesses. The reality could be less. This is sadly common among pioneers of reggae and dancehall music. Artists who created the foundation for genres that generate billions of dollars today often died poor or live modestly. It's one of the great injustices of the music business. Despite the money situation, Brigadier Jerry's influence on dancehall and hip-hop is enormous. Many music historians consider him the greatest student Roy ever taught. Artists like Josie Wales, Charlie Chaplin, Hugh Brown, and even Buju Banton have all cited Brigadier Jerry as an influence on their style. His technical abilities were groundbreaking. He pioneered techniques in speed, clarity, and rhythm that became standard for every dancehall DJ who came after him. But more importantly, he showed that you could be commercially successful while maintaining conscious, positive messages. You didn't have to talk about guns, violence, or explicit sex to captivate an audience. Now here's where the story gets exciting again. In 2022, after years of being relatively quiet, Brigadier Jerry released a new single called Original Culture DJ. The song was strong and reminded people why he mattered. Then in 2024, something unexpected happened. Brigadier Jerry started performing again publicly at proper concerts and festivals. On November 2, 2024, he performed at the Coronation Day celebration in Los Angeles. The crowd response was incredible. People who had grown up listening to his music decades earlier were thrilled to see him perform live again. Even at 67 years old, his voice was still strong. His energy was still there. Just 2 months later, on December 28, 2024, a special event was held in Clarendon, Jamaica, celebrating the return of the General. This was a homecoming, a recognition that Brigadier Jerry was back and active. The Jamaican reggae community came out in large numbers to show love and respect. The momentum continues. Brigadier Jerry is scheduled to perform at the Return of Rub-a-Dub 2025 in Stone Mountain, Georgia on August 16, 2025. This festival focuses on the classic dancehall sound from the 1980s and early 1990s, exactly when Brigadier Jerry was at his peak. He's appearing alongside other legends, proving there's still huge demand for authentic, conscious dancehall music. At 67 years old, Brigadier Jerry could easily be fully retired. Instead, he's actively performing and showing new generations what real dancehall artistry looks like. His comeback is being driven not by desperation or money needs, but by genuine appreciation from fans. The story of Brigadier Jerry is ultimately about staying true to yourself even when the world moves in different directions. He never compromised his cultural, conscious approach to chase trends or money. When everyone else was doing explicit content, he stayed cultural. When the industry changed and made it harder for artists like him to thrive, he didn't quit or sell out. He just continued doing what he loved on his own terms. Today, Brigadier Jerry lives primarily in the United States, but maintains strong connections to Jamaica. His comeback shows that real talent and authenticity never expire. Fans who loved him in the 1980s still love him now. Younger listeners discovering classic dancehall are finding his music and recognizing the genius in his delivery and lyrics. So what really happened to Brigadier Jerry? Nothing dramatic or tragic, He simply chose family over fame for a period, moved to America for better opportunities, and stepped back from the music industry grind. He never stopped being an artist. He just stopped chasing commercial success and started living life on his terms. Now, in his late 60s, he's experiencing a genuine comeback driven by renewed appreciation for his contributions to dancehall music. The general never left. He was just waiting for the right time to remind everyone why he earned that title in the first place. Drop a comment below if you remember where you first heard Brigadier Jerry's music, and share this video so more people learn about this living legend.